Okay. Good morning, brothers and sisters. This is your spiritual grandpa, Brother Chapel, the old World War II veteran, trying to bring information to the people, things that we should know about, that we might have better government. After all, the government has a lot to do with our lives, with our everyday lives. If they're wrong, they make our lives miserable. I want to go back. I want to go back in time. I want to go back to the Civil War. Why did we have a Civil War? It was a land grab. The South wanted to take the southern half of the United States. They also wanted to have slaves, and they wanted to have things that the North didn't go along with. They thought they had an opportunity. They had England to back them. Oh, they're going to give them whatever they need. Big lie. And they said, well, the northern troops, is about 20,000, I think, but most of them are out west fighting Indians. We can do it. We can jump in there, even though they got 22 million people, and we only have about 5 million. We can do it. And we got God on our side. Oh, we got the Bible under our arm and a shotgun in the other hand. No, it was an illegal move. They know it's an illegal move. It's a part of our history. I hope we've learned something from it, because many lives were lost. Now we jump ahead. This is in 1861, 1865. Let's jump ahead to 1935. What do we have here? Again, this is a racial thing. And it's also wanting to prove white supremacy. So we have these boys, the Scottsboro boys. They're in a train. 2 girls get on that train. And of course, the train is sidetracked, and the whole thing, it seems like it was orchestrated. 2 of the young boys were only 13, 14 years old, and they were in another boxcars. But they took all of them, and they had a trial and condemned them to death. A 12-man jury trial condemned them to death. You know, the Alabama Supreme Court had to step in. This is just too much. They stepped in and said, you cannot kill these young boys. They weren't even in the same boxcars. That's okay. We'll just let them rot in prison for the rest of their life. There's been a lot of misjustice in our world. Alabama has its share. So now we go ahead to the Selma March. Now, the Selma March was in 1965. We jump ahead. But the same mindset. Can you realize the mindset they had? These people were church-going people dressed up. It was a Sunday. They came from Selma to the Pettus Bridge. They wanted their voting rights, which was their absolute right to have it as U.S. citizens. They set the dogs on them. They used the billy clubs. They used horses. They used everything and beat the tar out of them. Now, we got one big difference. The other 2 things I talked about, we didn't have television. Everything was maybe known locally, but it didn't get out. Now we have television. It goes around the world. The beating of these people, well-dressed people, they're not violent. They're just marching up there to get their rights. But what happens is, it's known around the world. A friend of mine who travels quite a bit, in Turkey, in England, and many other places, when they found they come from Alabama, oh my goodness, Alabama, oh, that's where they beat those blacks. Oh, that's all they know about Alabama is the Selma March and what happened at the Pettus Bridge. What a sad history to have for such a beautiful state with so much that we have to offer. Now, let's come up to the more recent times. Now we have a case where it's not racism, it's sexism. A lady makes more money than the legislators. They don't like that. So they condemn her. They say all kinds of slanderous things against her. and put a court case against her for $5 million. Now, they got to use something in order to bring this court case up. So they said, well, she sent a letter to this guy that wrote 3 bad checks amounting over $1,300. And he wrote on the back of the... Now, what happens is there's a legal method to do this. And she followed the legal method. It's called a 10-day notice. You send them a 10-day notice that they should come to you and make right. Well, this thing was well orchestrated by the powers that be, the corrupt powers that be. Judge Evans, this attorney Fuller, and his son, who wrote the bad checks. I think it was all orchestrated to put down a successful woman. This is sexism, and it's right all the way from the Civil War. We still have it. I don't know. That doesn't seem right. I need people to come in and help me, which I'm doing this for free because I want to have a better state. I love Alabama. It's my home state. I wasn't born here, but I came here because it was the best state I could find of all the states I lived in. So what happened? This 10-day letter is sent to this bad check writer, and he writes across it, refused, and it comes back. So what do they have to do? They look at this application, and he works for Charter Cable. Now this Greg Fuller gets another letter from Charter Cable, a 10-day letter, a letter that's been it's been made legal by George Wallace. He passed this law that if you send this 10-day letter, you could not be persecuted. You could not be, you're doing it legally. Sends a 10-day letter to where he works at Charter Cable. Okay, they've had this all planned anyhow, so now they jump on it. They sue Mrs. Collins for $5 million. They defamed his character. They defamed the character of a bad check writer. My Lord, how ridiculous is this? But it happened. Now, it has to be a tampered jury. Judge Evans, even though the attorney says this is a frivolous lawsuit and she's in the right, why are you bringing this to trial? He would hear no part of it. It had been orchestrated by his friend, the attorney, and the attorney's son. It's a crooked operation altogether. So they have the court case and a jury. It has to be a tampered jury. Anybody can read the case. I can give you the case numbers. All you got to do is get in touch with me. I'll leave you my address and everything and phone number at the end of this. So what happens is they go to the Supreme Court, Alabama Supreme Court. Now this is a hard thing to do. They don't take many cases, but they took this case and they came and they had a trial and they verbally spanked the judge, the jury, that should never have gone to trial. So what does this do? Well, the jury had already said, oh, she owes the bad check writer $60,000, which would deem her guilty because she had to pay the fine. It couldn't happen that way. So they went to the Alabama Supreme Court, which cost over $100,000. And the Alabama Supreme Court, as I said, they verbally spanked the jury, the judge, the attorney, for this is not right. It was a 6-man judge panel, and all 6 of them unanimously said this was absolutely, should never have gone to trial. However, they have not the ability to give money back to the person who has been hurt so bad, financially especially, and physically. So what happens is Mrs. Collins is out. All this money, found innocent, of course, but it was a high price to pay for innocence. Okay, now they retaliated because of this. Oh my goodness, you can't tell us we're wrong. We're always right. But then they started the retaliation. But after she won the judgment, they went ahead and closed her offices. She had check cashing offices in 5 counties, 23 offices, 36 employees. They closed their offices down for no just reason. Just said, if we don't close your offices, we'll put you in jail. What a terrible threat. Now, Mrs. Collins, let me tell you a little bit about her. 30 years, a school counselor, taking care of the problems of pregnant young ladies and stuff like that, making things right with people all her life. Doesn't have a mean bone in her body, but they tried to make her everything. They said her property was a place where they had sex deals, and you just can't believe it. Anybody that really wants to hear the story, I'll be glad to tell you. I don't have enough time today to tell you all that happened. But then they went ahead and closed these 23 offices. This cost over $10 million because they closed them for 9 months. And the attorney, her attorney kept begging them, why? Why are you? Well, we don't have time. We don't have time. And finally they opened the offices up. Well, by that time they lost 3,500 customers. And they wanted to keep their employees. They paid their employees every single week for all 9 months, which cost them right at $100,000 right there. They lost several millions dollars worth of business. All their customers had disappeared. 3,500 customers had gone somewhere else. You can't go do business with a place that's closed. This is such a terrible story. And it's supposed to be justice? There's no justice unless we demand it. And as at the voting booth, I guess, is the best place we can demand justice. So I just want to leave you these stories because it's important. And the retaliation didn't start then. You know, it touches lives, it touches civil rights, it touches property, it touches all the things that they're trying to take away from people in order to spank them because they don't like the way they did them. When she hurt them, really hurt them by winning in that Supreme Court, they've been retaliating ever since. Even to this day, they've broken several businesses. The last one I happen to be the CFO of, and that's why I'm so involved. And this was a car business, and they've put us out of business. Slander, saying things that are so ridiculous, saying the places for sex trafficking, that we have it unrecorded, where a person at a supervisor at Walmart told, and there were about 8 people there, oh yeah, they use, and I don't even know what the thing they're talking about. They use gag balls on these children when they rape them. What kind of craziness is this? And then we have it over at the Boaz Hospital. One of the supervisors, when they come in to see me because I had the virus, all these crazy things. It seems like they have a lot of little minions that do their dirty work. We know where it comes from. We need help. We need help. We need just your morals help. And of course, we can always use financial help. All this costs money. Everybody knows that. I absolutely receive no money, nor will I, because money corrupts. And I'm not going to be corrupted. I'm 95 years old. It's not a time in my life to be corrupted. So let me give you my phone number and my address. My phone number is 205-237-5971. 205-237-5971. Please write me anytime. If you can't call me, write me. Drop me a postcard, anything. Let me know you're interested, and maybe you will have more questions for me. My address is Spiritual Grandpa, 3173 Solitude Road, Albertville, Alabama, 35950. Spiritual Grandpa. 3173 Solitude Road, Albertville, Alabama 35950. Thank you so much, and God bless you.